Hey babes, I'm Cynthia.
And I'm Beverly. Grab your favorite drink. Let's sip and chat.
Welcome to Tipsy and Truthful, the podcast.
Period. Hey babes, welcome back to another episode of Tipsy and Truthful. This is a podcast where two best friends sip and chat about life, relationships, parenthood, and everything in between. I'm Beverly.
I'm Cynthia.
And I noticed when I was watching the last episode that you gave me a boche because I didn't ask you how your week was.
Well, you didn't let me ask you how your week was.
Yeah, I jumped right into it. I think it feels fake to me, if I'm gonna be real. You
did say this. That.
It feels fake because I know exactly how your week went. Like, we talk every day.
Yeah.
So yes, I realize that our babes out there don't know how our weeks went, but I guess, I don't know. I'm not a good liar. I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I'm terrible at lying, and it feels like a lie. Even though it's not a big deal, it feels like I'm lying. Like, I'm asking you how your week went, and I already know your answer.
You're just like, come on. I get it.
So we're going to try something new today. I thought of, like, I feel like I saw this in a movie somewhere. Like, saying your highs and your lows of each week. You know where I saw this?
No.
The Kardashians.
Can we not do it then?
No, it's a good idea still. It doesn't matter where it came from. I just remembered that they used to do that like around dinner or something. I don't know. But
I mean, I've seen it like
it's not their concept.
It's not their concept. We used to do it at school every Monday actually. Last year with my 4th grade class, we used to do highs and lows of the week. Friday mornings actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
which was fun.
I want to try that.
Sure.
Do you want to start?
Okay.
So I don't want to say a low.
We want to say opportunity or something you've
like
learned.
An opportunity for growth or an opportunity for learning.
Okay. So for me, my high this week was that I was off. So I was just relaxing. I got a lot of things done. Went to a lot of doctor's appointments. Got that out of the way. Organized, rested, and got to spend time with my mom. So those were my highs. My opportunity, I think, is realizing more and more that this is what I want to do. I'm just like, I need to be home. This is where I'm happy and like where I feel like I'm just motivated to do so much and get so many things done that I'm just like, okay, this is what I'm working towards.
Okay. I should have thought this before, huh?
It would have helped. I just want to say we're a little off today.
Yeah.
For a couple reasons. Well, just one. It's Jessica.
We're missing Jess. Jessica's not feeling well. She's not here. I'm going to keep looking to this corner.
She's not here today.
She's not
it feels
there,
so off.
And it's weird. Okay? We took hours to start recording today.
I've been here since 7.
And it is.
And it's 10.
I don't have a watch, but.
I think.
Yeah, it is 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels a little off.
It's weird.
I can't stand her. Why do I miss her like that?
Because you adore her in reality. That's why.
True. I couldn't even figure out the mic stuff. We have it on camera,
Jess. Okay.
I was like, I had to bother her. I'm like, Jess, I know you feel good, but I don't know what to do with this. Where do the mics go connected?
And mind you, when we were going to start recording, when she got here, I was like, you know how to set up? She's like, yeah, you just plug stuff in.
Okay, what stuff needs to go plugged in?
There's like 800 cables here. We don't know.
Freaking Jess.
That's why we have Jess.
Yeah.
So we hope you feel better, and we'll be here next week, Jessica.
It makes us not that we don't appreciate her, but like it makes me appreciate her even more.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
All right.
Where were we?
Your highs and opportunities.
And my opportunity. My highs. We got a new client this week, which that's a high. Okay. Business wise, it's in the same category as my opportunity. Okay. I didn't have an employee to send out and clean this new office, so I actually went with an employee. Both of us went together, and I had like an aha moment where I realized, okay, it's time for change. It's time for growth. And I'm going to see that. I was sitting there bitching, but I'm going to see that as an opportunity that I'm ready for the next level in my business. And I need to think of ways to make that happen. I'm gonna take that as an opportunity instead of me complaining about it, which is what I actually did.
I get that. It's kind of hard to get yourself out of that mindset,
out of the funk. Yeah.
So yeah, that inspired some of not our week, but like we've been talking about our topic, which you're gonna introduce.
Yeah. So this week, like we had like a conversation, kind of unrelated. It had a lot to do with religion, the conversation that we were having, but it was about our inner voices, where our inner voice comes from, from our parents, from the way that we were raised, from being raised as part of a community in church. It really helped to develop our inner voice. And we were also talking, we go on tangents, even in like
tipsy
personal.
Tipsy and
We're
tangent.
changing the name. I'm telling you guys,
Tipsy
please
and
send
tangent.
donations so we can get a new sign.
No, for real though.
We were also talking about the inner voice that we are trying to, that we would like for our children to have, because we know that this inner voice is going to be formed a lot by their childhood and the things that we instill in them. Okay. This brought us to talking about limiting beliefs, because limiting beliefs are usually what we are told as kids from the people, the guardians that we have in our life, the grown-ups who are helping us.
Ill-equipped. For the most part. Because it's coming from a place of like they just didn't know. Yeah. They didn't understand, so they just continue the cycle.
Like a big one is our views on money. Most of us, our views on money, let me not say most of us. For me, I always felt like there was always something missing when it came to finances. And I realized that feeling of needing more has carried on, and that's a little voice that I have in my head that I'm trying to correct, because I believe in abundance. I believe that what's for me is already meant for me. My story is written, and just waiting for my story and me to meet each other. Okay, I don't want to. That little voice in my head telling me that I'll never have enough. I have to quiet it down, because I know that that's actually not a fact. As we had this conversation, another thing that came up was,
I had so many.
Self-sabotage?
Yeah. But like, which specifically? About relationships?
I feel like just talking about limiting beliefs, we kept talking about it, and do we have 100 other examples of limiting? Do you want to add another example of limiting beliefs?
Thinking that you're not worthy of love. Thinking that you're not worthy of being safe, or feeling like safe in the sense that you have to protect your vulnerability all the time, and you can't share that. That's self-sabotaging, because when you're in friendships that are trustworthy, when you're in relationships that are trustworthy, that should come naturally. But sometimes it's hard to open up and feel comfortable in letting that show. So it's one of those things that you gotta have to fight through in your mind. Like, if you know you're safe, because I could understand if you're not safe, but if you know you're in a safe space, that you should air those out. And I think that's hard. Like fighting yourself, like, that's too much. Ooh, what are they gonna say about me? Ooh, they're gonna think I'm weak. Ooh, you like go through all these things in your mind, and so you never share them, and then get upset. That's self-sabotaging, because then you get upset when the other person doesn't understand why you feel a certain way, but you miss those opportunities to express to them why certain things make you feel certain ways. Yeah.
So in this episode, we want to discuss a little bit more just about what is self-sabotage. And towards the end, we are referencing a book that we read.
I read
an audiobook. I mean, I listened. I didn't read.
It's the same thing. I've already listened. It's called "The Mountain Is You" by Brittany Weist. Brianna, sorry. Yeah. Brianna Weist.
Is it Weist or Weist?
It's Weist.
Something like that.
It's Weist. And I actually read that book. I want to say November, October, September, something like that, last year. Because of a course I was taking. And one of the first assignments was to read that book, because we had to let go of so many things that hold us back from achieving the things that we want, from getting to the things that we want, from believing that we are worthy and able to get those things. So the first assignment was actually to read that book. And I read that book on my way to, well, I listened to the book on my way to work, on back, like anytime I was doing like cleaning. And I told Beverly, I'm like, babe, you got to read this book.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it's a handbook for, breaking a lot of those traumas and voices that tell you can't.
Yes.
And that you're not able to, and that you will never.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, it's just yourself. You are your biggest mountain.
Yes.
You're in the way of the things that you want.
So really this episode is trying to let you know, you babe that's out there watching this, sometimes your biggest obstacle is you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, not sometimes. 99% of the time, it's you in the way.
You're
your
own biggest problem. Yeah.
You're your own biggest critic, and you beat yourself down so much that you don't have the energy to pursue the things that you want. Mm-hmm. Because you tell yourself constantly you're not nice to yourself. You tell yourself you're not smart enough. You're not strong enough. You're not able to do these things when you're definitely able to.
We're saying you, and we're including ourselves in this.
This is a daily practice.
I feel like me especially, I struggle a lot with this. And
what's the one that you said today?
What?
When we were in the kitchen.
Babe, my memory is
chaos.
Oh, yes. And we're going to talk about the different categories of it. So basically, in this episode, we're going to go over what self-sabotage is. And if you watch until the end, we're going to tell you like
we could link the book, actually.
Oh, yeah.
We can link the book for you.
Yes.
Because it's free on YouTube if you don't want to pay the money.
If you want to listen to the audio
not only did I listen to it on YouTube in the beginning, but I had Audible for a little bit.
Why are you doing that face?
Because I thought it was bougie.
That's not bougie.
Listen, everything is free on the YouTubes, all right? And I found other ways to get around it. But I do have it on Audible also. So not only can you get it on YouTube for free, but if you have Audible or any of those sources, you can just download the book.
Okay.
Or Amazon too. You can just buy a digital copy.
I got the digital copy on my phone, and I haven't flipped through those pages. I realized that I really need a physical book.
I see. That's the reason why I unsubscribed from the Amazon book library thing, because of the same reason. I don't get the same satisfaction when I'm doing this on a Kindle or on an iPad, or it's not the same. I need to feel the pages, and I need to next page. And I need to put a bookmark. You need to
lick your fingers.
I need to put a bookmark and know and see physically, like, oh, look at how much I have left.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm like you. We're old school.
Yeah.
I like reading an actual book.
Towards the end of this, so we just want to go over like what is like the definition and maybe some examples of what self-sabotage is, in hopes that if anybody out here is watching and you realize that you've been doing this, you didn't know before that it was self-sabotage.
99% of the time, you're gonna realize you are doing all these things.
I see this girl on TikTok that she says self-sabotage is, and then she does like a chef's kiss. It's true. Like, we don't know that we're doing it, and we're gonna go into why in a little bit.
We just do it.
But towards the end of the episode, we're gonna give you like the 5 steps that Brianna Weist in her book says that you should take. But we want you, if you're interested, to go and find the book, read the book, listen to the book.
It's such, like, honestly, guys, this is not like a book that's gonna bore you to death. You're gonna be like, doing this the whole time. What?
Yeah.
No, like, it's that good. It's so good. It's actually not a long read. You can get the book done in a couple, like maybe in 2 or 3 days if you really want to. It's something it's valuable. You should read it, especially if you're on a self-growth, self-healing, self-reflection journey. This is a great book, a great resource to like have in your back pocket. So,
babe, before you read the book, try to forget what you learned from the book. Before you read it, how would you have described or how would you have defined self-sabotage?
Before I read the book, I honestly, to be completely honest, didn't have a definition. That's just me being honest. Because it's not a word that we use all that too often. So I didn't know before our coach said you need to read this book. I was like, what is she talking about? Self-sabotage. What does that mean?
See, I had heard the word.
Yeah.
But the definition
I know sabotage, but not self-sabotage. So I couldn't
But-
put two and two together.
No, I had heard it, but for me, before I read the book, I just thought that self-sabotage was like somebody who was like lacking confidence, or like just wanted to be their biggest critic. And I never thought of myself as being somebody who was self-sabotaging. Okay. In the book, she explains that self-sabotage is actually a coping mechanism. It is not a lack of willpower. It's not you being a masochist. It is a way of having a need met that you usually don't even know is there. You needed this need to be met.
Yeah.
That really threw me off.
Oh my God, no more.
You need this
you.
need to be met, but you're not doing it in a healthy manner. So,
but you also, I think the biggest thing that you need to highlight is, like she said, this is also subconsciously.
Yes.
That it's not like you're consciously making the decision to do these things to yourself.
That's what I was about to say next.
Okay.
It is
Sorry.
it's okay, babe. It's two conflicting needs. One is conscious and the other is subconscious. Unconscious, subconscious, whatever. Let me give some examples. So again, in the book, she gives some examples. I'm gonna just list them and we can maybe talk about an example of what it is. Okay. The first one is uprooting. Do you know what that is?
Go ahead.
Uprooting. And when I read this, I thought of somebody specific in my life. Two people specifically in my life whom I love very much. But do you know anyone who is always moving, who always has a new job, who always is looking for the next best thing? So they're always concentrated on the growth and the next level, but they don't master their current level before they move on. So uprooting is basically where you're just so focused on the walking up the steps and not actually on reaching anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And this is a way of self-sabotage, because if you focus on one thing and master it, right, then you can actually meet your need of being in the career that you love, of being in finding your purpose that you love, of finding your purpose. Uprooting is usually somebody who is really struggling with finding their purpose or doing something, maybe the career that they actually love. Okay, maybe they don't know what it is, so they think that they're filling the need by saying, okay, well, this is the next best thing, and now this is the next level. And it still feels empty. So, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I agree with you 100%.
I'm going to give you the list.
I agree with you 100%, but I just feel like I think social media also, and this has maybe or may not, but I feel like the reason why we also struggle with a lot of these, like going to the next best thing, is because of everything we're consuming on a daily basis. So you just feel like you don't enjoy your process of mastering a craft, of like learning and understanding what you should or should not be doing in your career. I don't know. But I feel like because you're seeing social media, people on social media constantly like, I bought this house and I bought this car and I got this job and I am married, I'm not married, I have children, I don't have children. You're constantly trying to, this is just my personal opinion, in the uprooting, you're always trying to find that and match that and stay current. And because you don't have a true purpose, you can't define those things. It's hard for you to be like, you know what, I am very content and happy. And let me just tell you something. A lot of people say being content is not okay. I'm going to disagree. I think that eventually we get to a place where contentment is okay. We don't have to always continue to be the next best thing and the next best thing and the next best thing. I think we need to find whatever contentment is to you, and you are thriving, you're healthy, you're living, and you're finding joy in the things that you're doing. That's okay too.
I'm one of the people who believes in constant growth, but I do worry that, to me, it's not exhausting.
I get it.
I like it.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
The problem that some people face is that they don't enjoy their current moment. Like they forget to look back at where, okay, so I'm in this level and this is great. And look, I stepped up 3 steps to get to
It's
where
like
I'm
climbing
at.
a mountain. If you don't take time to
You gotta look back.
and see how much growth you've made, how many strides you've taken, then the journey is pointless at that point, because you're not praising yourself for doing all the hard things that you overcame, and and that's important. But I also don't want to, once again, not that there's anything wrong with growth. Of course, we should all be striving for growth. But I think that also people get on people for feeling content when they reach a certain place. They're like, you know what? I feel great here. I'm so happy here. Like, I don't want to do anything beyond this. And people were like, what do you mean? You should do this. And like, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like success, we discussed this last time. Success is different for each person.
Yeah,
And we
it's
got to be
subjective.
okay with that.
It's subjective.
The second one, do you want to read it? I don't know if you can read the list. Can you read it from there? Should I put it
Let me see if
closer?
my context reach. The second one is
Perfectionism. I'll just read it.
thank you, babe.
Can you describe perfectionism?
Do you want me to quote it from the book? Because I can't.
Okay.
I think you're gonna have to take the lead, because let me just tell you, I had a whole shine. Oh, it's about it. My brain is all over the place.
So somebody who's
I don't
self-sabotaging way is perfectionism. They won't start something because they can't do it perfectly.
Ah, got it. Yes.
And an
Yes,
example
yes.
that I thought of, the opposite of perfectionism, was our podcast. We knew like that we wanted a certain vibe, like, but we started. If you've seen all of our episodes, our audio didn't work the first one. Our video,
lighting?
no, our video didn't work on the first one, and we couldn't even post it. And then the audio, something happened with the audio. We had to re-record the first episode. Didn't we?
You're right.
Long story short, hot messes all the way along. But we decided that we were just going to start it, and we weren't going to try to be perfect. We were just going to get it started, and we can improve on the way.
And I feel like,
pat yourself on the back.
I think we've done a pretty good job. I see the growth in the things that we've done. So I'm glad that we just started, that we weren't trying to be perfect, because it's just hard to, continue that. I feel like it's so satisfying to see the growth in every video that we put out, the quality change, how comfortable we're getting on camera. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? That's so beautiful. Like, why would I want to be perfect?
But some people get stuck I'm not starting it because it has to be perfect. It's really rooted in fear.
Of course. Fear of failure.
Of being judged, of failing. If this is your way of self-sabotaging, just from two people who just started this podcast without knowing what the hell we were doing, and still just start. Okay, you will learn. We're still learning. We got a wrinkly ass background back here.
Yeah, we look at it all the time.
It bothers the crap out of me, but for now, this is it. This is what we're doing.
That's not the important thing. I think we are the stars of the show. We could all agree. So, everything else is just whatever.
I decided I'm not gonna let it drive me crazy. We'll change it once we have the time, the opportunity to do so. It's not about doing it perfectly. It's about doing it. So
and being passionate about it too, doing it with doing it with the right intention.
Exactly.
I feel like that's what's more important. Like that, you can see that and feel that more than how aesthetically pleasing our background could be or not be. So yeah.
The next one, we always talk about emotional intelligence. The next one is called limited emotional processing skills, which is basically if you are doing something and it brings you some sort of emotion that you're uncomfortable with, you prefer to just avoid it. So you're self-sabotaging by avoiding something because you know that the feeling is not something that you're comfortable with. And let me just add, humans are hardwired for comfort, not for growth. Too. Yeah. From this book, you realize crap.
Reiterating.
You always think I always thought no, everybody wants better, everybody wants more. False. You gotta fight the feelings of comfort to get to the level of growth. Because it's more comfortable to just sit here and not have to deal with, okay, I'm parenting this way because of how I was parenting. Having to confront those feelings and having to have tough conversations is what Cynthia says it all the time. It's going to be an uncomfortable conversation. We are hardwired to be safe and comfortable. That's the truth.
But there's no growth in that.
There's none.
And the moment you realize that your comfort is stunting your growth, let's switch it off.
Yeah.
Because honestly, yes, we want to feel comfortable, but if they're limiting the potential that we have to be better parents, better human beings, better at our job, better at anything we do in life, then we gotta clip it.
I feel like this one, and if any of these sound like any self-sabotaging methods that you have used, feel free to hop on in. This one's one that I've used a lot, the limited emotional processing skills. In the past, if a conversation was difficult,
same.
People pleasing me would just skip the conversation and just stay in that uncomfortable situation.
Still guilty. I fight with it all the time. You know, like it's very uncomfortable to, especially for a person like me who's not confrontational, having to confront those feelings with other people and knowing that it could spark, you don't know which way it's going to go. It could go really bad or it could go really good. Mm-hmm. And that unknown is scary for me.
Yeah.
So I have to fight through that and be like, no, this is a conversation that still needs to happen. Who knows what's going to happen? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
the unknown is very scary.
Oh, of course. The unknown is very scary. Mm-hmm. It's not a comfortable place.
Yes. Yeah. Another one is disorganization. No, sorry. Justification. Do you know what that one is?
I know a lot of people that justify their actions, that justify
other people's actions.
They justify the reasons why they live a certain way or they don't live a certain way. And it's all rooted in, if we go back, we start digging deep into our soul, you find that a lot of these things are deep rooted in fear, in losing control, in like making sure that a certain perspective is, you know, being portrayed at all times. Mm-hmm. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
You know, like having to justify everything in your life. I couldn't imagine. But that is self-sabotaging because you're not letting the true, how can I say?
It's like making excuses versus actually
painting
dealing
a picture.
With it. Yeah. The next one is disorganization. And this is the one that I struggle with the most, I feel like. I've mentioned that I grew up in chaos, and I'm not even saying like disorganization. My dad is a neat freak. Okay. It was like emotional chaos more. Mm-hmm. And it's manifested in my life in actual disorganization. Okay. It makes me, this is an example of two conflicting needs. Okay. My need to not raise my kids in the same chaos that I was raised. That's my conscious need. Okay. My subconscious need is to feel comfortable and to feel the same chaos that I felt my entire life because it's familiar. Okay. So
and it's safe.
It's familiar. It's safe. It's what I know. Mm-hmm. Okay. So me having to change X, Y, and Z is way more. This is how I self-sabotage. I already know, like, I have a place for everything. I know where everything goes, but I will come in and take my shoes off at the door and then forget. And then in the middle of the night, I'm like, oh, I left my shoes by the door. No, it's going to be messy by the door when I wake up. So this is one of the ones that I battle with a lot. I know how to be organized. I own a freaking cleaning company. Okay. But I struggle with it at home.
That's the part that gets me.
I struggle with it at home. That's the part that gets to me. Well, you know what they say that if you go to a cleaner's house, it's not clean. If you go to a painter house, they're not painted. They get home and they're like sick of it.
Yeah, I get it, but it's just
thank God for John, because John is a neat freak. Okay, yeah. Thank God for John. He has really helped me hone in like this organization because I like clean, but the disorganization is where I struggle. It's like really a challenge. It's something that I'm working with because I realize that I'm working so hard to not give my children the chaos that I had, and I'm still doing it in a different way, you know, because my chaos was not like physical. Mm-hmm. You can see disorganization. It was up here. Mm-hmm. Anyway, attachment to, I can't read my own damn writing. This is bad. Attachment to what you don't really want. I see this a lot. Where people focus on, I don't want this, instead of focusing what you do want. Give me an example.
No, I was thinking of something else.
Oh, okay.
What was your example?
Oh, I didn't have one. I thought you had one.
No. I was thinking about like, okay, for example, you know, I've been in education for a couple of years. And I love what I do. But I know that I can't do it anymore.
That is an example in a different way.
I can't do it anymore. Like mentally, I can't do it anymore. Physically, I cannot do it anymore. Emotionally, spiritually, I can't do it anymore. I think after COVID, the last 3 years have been probably the most difficult years in education, and I feel like every educator can agree. It's just been so challenging to have a mindset in the right your mindset in the right place and go in and do and continue to do things with love. Not that I don't love what I do, but I don't love what I do, if that makes sense. It's so weird because I love my job and I love my kids and I love my colleagues and I love my school, but I can't do it anymore.
Do you think that you've been
exhausted.
attached to it because it's like a steady paycheck and it's
I think
familiar?
I've been attached to it. The biggest reason, I think, to be 100% honest, is the comfort in the work environment. Like going to work and having the colleagues that I have is, you don't find that. Like it's such a community and everybody's so welcoming and so supportive and so loving and just so everything that, leaving that for something, especially in corporate America, which is what I'm pursuing now, where it's just cutthroat, it's scary. And so I struggle with that because I keep saying, what did I say? I'm like, listen, I gave myself till the end of the school year because this cohort of children that I have is my last, they're my last, that's it.
They're graduating
from elementary. They're going on to middle school. And so this group I have, I'm not going to have anymore. And I'm just not going to start all over again. I've been with them for 3.5 years with this specific group. And so, yeah, I think this is the time. They're moving on and I have to move on too. I just can't do it anymore.
I get what you're saying. I don't think it's that's the same thing as this.
But I constantly talk myself out of it. I'm like, no, but do you really want to move on?
That's the thing. It's because we are hardwired to stay comfortable.
Yeah.
And this is what you know.
Yeah.
It's been years.
It's been a long time. A long time, and so getting those ideas out, like it's going to be so different, school vacations and all that. But honestly, at the end of the day, none of those things matter. So
that is an attachment to what you don't want, though. Mm-hmm. The schedule, like you're thinking of all the positive things.
Yeah.
But I feel in the book, I think what I got was like focusing on I don't want a husband who does X, Y, and Z, versus focusing on I want a husband who does this. I want a husband who's loving. I want a career that's fulfilling. I want a family who is healthy. Focusing on the things that you don't want versus focusing on things that you do want.
Yeah.
It keeps you in this cyclone of I don't want it, and you don't move forward. That's why it's self-sabotage. The next one is judging others. This one is
if I'm not mistaken, it's okay, I don't remember.
You don't remember? It's about judging others. And that jealousy that you feel is actually a way of you. It's something that you want. You want what they have.
Exactly.
But it's easier to sit here and judge them versus trying to pursue that thing, that lifestyle, that family, that career. It's easier for you to try to find something wrong so that you can humanize them and judge them versus sitting down and saying, wait, why am I feeling this negative jealousy way towards them?
Putting that much energy into it.
There's something about this person that I admire and that I actually want. Right. So if you feel yourself doing that, because we're all human, just sit with it for a minute, allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, and then think, okay, what is it that this person has, or not even material things, like what is it about this person that I admire, that I would want in my own life? Is it their charisma? Is it their
life, the way they go about life?
It's usually like a characteristic more than like a material thing,
Even though the material things, especially in the day and age that we're living. I feel like a lot of people like, did you see the house? Did you see the car?
But is it about the house and the
No,
car,
but
or is
you
it
always
about
be like,
they have financial freedom and I'm
yeah,
here in
that's
debt, struggling.
that is the
underlying.
the underlying.
That's what we have to reach.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what's really under? Let's peel these layers. Yes, they have a nice house. Yes, they have a nice car. But
Why am I hating on them?
What is it that I want from this?
Why am I hating?
Do I want the financial freedom? Do I want the freedom of my time? Do I want to be able to up and travel and give my children new experiences? Because that's another limiting belief that we have about money, is that people with money are evil. People with money have like a bad agenda or whatever. Like, they're selfish. And when I see people like, money is an opportunity to make your life easier. It's an opportunity to serve others, to help others. You can be somebody's employer. You can change. You can make change.
Yeah, but not everybody goes in with that mindset, and that's where I think it's hard for people to be like, "Ooh, money's not evil." I think that you have to be you have to be conscious of the fact that if you do come into money, you want to do all those things. There's some people that get the money, and because they've never had money, forget about all the other stuff that is,
Your limiting beliefs are showing.
How is there showing?
Money is not evil. People are evil.
Well, that's true.
People with money, people with no money are evil.
No, I'm saying that's what the consensus is of what people say.
That's
about
something.
money.
That's the thing. We keep getting taught these things, and they stick. Look at you already know. Your subconscious is telling you that some people with money are evil. It's not the money that's making them evil.
It's the person.
It's the person, right? That's. These things are so deep rooted in us that we don't.
Thanks, babe.
You're
catching that.
Babe. That's the thing. We don't even catch these things because they're so like this little inner voice that's in our head, this limiting belief. That shit is deep rooted. Like, there's 30-something years of you thinking this without even really bringing it to the surface to be like, wow, I really think that money is evil.
Wait.
Think about that.
Yeah.
I've never thought of it like that, right? For me, with money, it's siempre me falta. I'm lacking. Even if I have money.
You say that though, but think about where that comes from.
Where?
And this just came to me. Just us having this is why I love having these conversations on camera. Think about anytime you wanted something as a kid. Que siempre te decían, ¿qué te decían tu mamá y tu papá?
Yo no tengo.
Teniendo.
Yeah.
I don't know if I wow with anybody as much as I'm wowed in my head, because even
These
though
are things
I knew,
that I've already revisited in my head. Like, where is this coming from?
Yeah, it's just like, wait a minute, ¿cómo que tú no tienes? And not that I was asking for, pero cada vez que iba a la tienda, like, it was mostly my dad. My dad was just like, it's so funny because my dad used to be like, con la mano aquí atrás. Y no va a poner mano, and you're gonna look with your eyes. You're not gonna touch, porque no tenemos dinero. But in reality, it was just.
Can you try to? Where does that come from our parents who come into this country,
My dad,
and have to struggle just to get the basics?
I think for my dad, and even for my husband, I'm gonna say, they had such rough upbringings growing up. Like, my dad started working. Like, he always talk about when he was like 5, 6, and he started shining shoes. And his dad, who was an alcoholic, unfortunately, would spend all day working, and his dad would take that away. He would just come home and take it and drink it, and y pasaban hambre, y pasaban all these different necesidades. And my husband felt the same way. Like, not that his dad.
It comes from a lack of trust.
It's a lack of so many things. It's a lack of feeling safe as a child, because as a child you shouldn't be worried about, I don't have money to eat.
Yeah.
And so you grew up into adulthood and you are scared that that's going to run out, even though you're working, even though you're in a good financial place. Because I could say that for the most part, my dad, who's worked construction all my life, my dad's paychecks were not skimpy. You know what I'm saying? So it was a fear of losing it. You know what I'm saying? And not having enough of it. It's the mind of scarcity. I'm never going to have enough because he's already been there, done that. So that I know that's where it comes from.
I battle with that scarcity mindset.
But my husband is the opposite. My husband came from a background of not having enough. So now that he has, he just spends like recklessly.
That's self-sabotage. Can I tell you which one that one is?
Yeah. Go ahead. I feel like I know, but go ahead.
Let me see which one that one is. Is it the guilt of succeeding?
No,
So
can't be that. It's not that. Because the guilt of succeeding is like you are purposely not doing your best so that you don't get to the next level, even though you know you deserve to get to the next level.
Isn't that what he's doing?
No.
He's being financially irresponsible when he knows.
I don't think it's the same thing.
Okay. Well, they gave the example in the book with money. With you finally get to a level where you feel comfortable with money, and then you get irresponsible financially, and you're self-sabotaging yourself to bring yourself back to that place of not having enough, because that's what you know. That's where you feel comfortable, right? So consciously, you're like, no, I need to make more money. But subconsciously, you're like, no, I need to spend it all because down here, that's my comfort zone. I don't know which category
that was a huge issue in our marriage, to be completely honest. That is where we struggle. Like, it's gotten a lot better, but it's because I had to take charge. I'll be like, you want to live in the street? I don't get it. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, you just because you make a certain amount doesn't mean you got to spend all of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that mentality of like, I'm never going to have this amount of money. It's just like, it's stressful for me. Because I came on the other side. You're the
opposite. You're the yo no tengo.
Well, exactly. I'm just like, we worked hard, so we're just not gonna spend it all like that recklessly. He's just like, I got it. I'm just like finding receipts and bags and shit. Guys, stressful.
The other one is pride. I can't remember the examples in the book. Do you remember how you would self-sabotage with pride?
Guys, we came a little ill prepared. Yeah, honestly, it's because this book has so much information.
It's so much,
it's so much information. It's hard to like retain everything. Even though I've listened to the book twice already.
Same.
It's still hard to be like, still have everything fresh in my mind. I don't.
We'll skip that one. We won't give examples, but pride is another way to self-sabotage.
The point is that we want you to read the book if you haven't caught on.
Mm-hmm. The guilt of succeeding. I just mentioned that.
I feel like that the guilt of succeeding, I remember like hearing about, if I'm not mistaken, that's what it was. It was, you purposely put yourself in a situation where you're not going to reach the next level because you're comfortable in your current. And that's different from content. I don't want to confuse it.
Did you just have an aha moment?
It's because it's such a such a fine line between being content and like not achieving anything, but being content with what you achieve, if that makes sense. Because there's two sides, do cara la moneda, whatever. There's when you work so hard and you reach a certain level and you're finally fine at that level. I feel like being content at that level is great. But I feel like when you just like, okay, for example, I have family members that have worked in places for a very long time, and everybody has moved on to other jobs and done other things, and those people are in the same job and it's been 10 plus years, for example, right? When they, with the knowledge that they have, with the experience that they have, they can take that anywhere and triple their pay anywhere, triple their title, their position in life. But they're choosing not to, even though they know that's a possibility. They're subconsciously choosing to stay where they are because they're needed, because they're the know-it-all person in their job. They are so praised in their job for knowing it. You know it all because you've been there for like 10, 15 years. You know what I'm saying? That it's time to move on, Two
things. That is an example of a guilt of succeeding. Somewhere and for each person it's going to be different, of course. But maybe that was just an example. But that's a good example of the guilt of succeeding. Maybe they have this subconscious belief that people who move on they're just bound to fall. Like once you go up a certain level, you're gonna fall. Todo lo que subo tiene que caer. Maybe they have that voice in the back of their head.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't know, because there could be a million reasons why they have guilt of succeeding.
But that's the whole point.
Maybe they don't believe that they deserve a higher level. Maybe they don't believe that they deserve better pay because of whatever inner voice is telling them. But that's why I disagree with the content thing. Because when you're saying you should be okay with being, like, once you reach a certain level, it should be fine if you're content there. What if this is the certain level for them? That's why I just don't think.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
And in the book, it mentions the upper limit. Do you remember the upper limit?
I get it. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because maybe your definition of that upper limit is going to be different than mine.
Yeah.
But they say in the book it mentions an upper limit. And this is, I forget the name of the person whose concept it is. Do you remember the upper limit theory?
Like I said, my brain.
Every person is comfortable with a certain level of happiness. It's like when you reach, like, let's say you're in a glass box and you reach the top. Once you reach that top, ya es el techo. You can't go any higher. This theory says, and I'm so sorry because I don't remember the name of the person for the theory, but I will look it up and put it in the notes. This upper limit theory says that each person is comfortable only with a certain amount of happiness. And once they reach that, if they're going to surpass it, they will self-sabotage to stay within their upper limit. The way to overcome that is to inch your upper limit along little by little. You have to get comfortable with being a little bit more successful, and then a little bit more successful, and then a little bit. Because sometimes what happens when you go to 0 to 100, you do something at that 100, you do something to self-sabotage where you lose it all. That doesn't happen for everyone, but...
No. But I get it. It's just so much. It's like celebrities. Like people that are unknown and all of a sudden they're like, everybody knows their name. Everybody's screaming their name. They can't go to Target. I would die if I can't go to Target in peace, first of all. So I could only imagine like going from being a nobody, an unknown person, to like you literally have to watch your back all the time.
Overnight.
And that's scary. You know, so I could understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. The next one I have is, it kind of goes with the guilt of succeeding. The other one is the fear of failing. So another one, like perfectionism, this is one where you won't even try X, Y, and Z because you're afraid you might fail.
I'm guilty of that, to be honest.
Yeah? In what way?
Because it's just that voice that you have to quiet. Like, you're not smart enough. You're not good enough. You'll never make it. Your English is not good enough. I don't know. You can't retain information. You're scared of being a public speaker. You're scared of, being in social set. Like all these things that I'm just like, I'm not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I won't even try, even though I know
that you're more than capable.
That I'm definitely more than capable of doing these things. But telling myself, bitch, what you thinking?
Can self-sabotage me? Ni un tiramisu. Ni un tiramisu, which is my favorite dessert.
For real though, it's scary to finally get up on the mic and be like, shut up to everybody in your brain. Man. Yeah,
because those voices telling you, no, you can't do it.
They weaken you to oh my goodness, it's crazy. And a lot of the work, once again, going back to the coaching class that I had to take that I took a couple months ago, that was almost all the work we did. Forget about, like, not even with the resume and with work and classes and courses. A lot of the work that we did was like shutting down those voices. Be like, girl, yes, you are. And there's one thing that I remember from one of the coaches. She said, why don't you think you're able and capable of doing these things? And one of the girls said, because everybody's doing it, because there's so many people. She's like, okay, but do you say this like when you go to the store and buy bread? You go looking for a specific type of bread, right? Yeah. Because there's different types of bread for everyone, right? So why don't you think that there's space on the shelf for you? And that moment, I literally had to turn off my camera and cry. Because it's true. Sometimes you tell yourself, like, there's so, like, for the perfect example, this podcast, there's millions, thousands, 100, I don't even know, of podcasts.
A shitload, okay? There is.
Anybody else could listen to that would be like, what are we going to have a podcast for? We don't have, who wants to listen to us? Who wants to listen to
111 subscribers?
Clearly 111 subscribers that we have. But like, if we really listened to those voices, we wouldn't be on episode 13 right now.
Yeah.
Episode 15.
My cleaning company. How many cleaning companies aren't there? Yeah. You want to start a business? Or you want to have a barbershop? How many barbershops aren't there?
Especially where we live.
There's like
and everybody's successful.
In every corner. And guess what? They're all packed all the time. Okay. Like. Yep. The fear of failing is sometimes greater than the desire to succeed. That's nuts. The next one is downplaying. I feel like we both might be guilty of this one. Downplaying is when you have achieved certain things, but you convince yourself that it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal, yeah.
You don't allow yourself to celebrate these things because it might mean that you have to do more. So you self-sabotage by telling yourself, not a big deal. You put yourself underneath this little shelf. You tuck your tail in.
Because when they tell you congratulations,
This whole thing. I love that. This whole thing. What else? Unhealthy habits. God, this one's real. This one's real for me.
This is real for most of us.
I told you guys, yes. The gym, like for example, the gym. I will tell myself, okay, I'm gonna start this habit.
One example that they have in the book is about dieting.
I was gonna say that next because this is exactly what I do.
Okay, go ahead.
So one example is a gym. I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym and do this and do that. I make these goals that are really difficult for me to stick to. Okay,
on purpose though.
That's me self-sabotaging because I know damn right that these kids don't sleep, and I'm not gonna go to sleep at 3 a.m. and wake up at 5. That's my body is not
it's
capable.
Telling me no.
But I own my own business. I make my own schedule. Miss Lionel Richie, who sings that?
I'm not gonna say his name because he's in jail. But okay.
Can we cut that out?
No.
Lionel Richie.
No, we're gonna keep it.
No, we're cutting that out, Jessica.
Jessica, we're keeping it.
Nope.
Anyways. So yeah, you wake up, you go to bed at 3, expecting to wake up at 5. You're not gonna wake up at 5.
When I own my own business and I make my own schedule, and why can't I just schedule sometime at 10 in the morning or 11 when I'm actually awake?
A reasonable time.
Because it's easier for me to self-sabotage and tell myself, no, if it's not at 5 in the morning, I can't do it. ¿Por qué? Dime, Beverly. Dime.
Same thing with the dieting. Like
the food.
You make these diets, right? And like we're saying we're gonna eat clean, we're gonna do this, but then you have a slip up, right?
And
you have a mini sized Milky Way.
I had a cheese.
And you're just like, fuck it, that's it, it's down the drain. I'm just gonna go crazy, and I'm
start
gonna go
again
to McDonald's,
next week.
and I'm gonna do this, and you self-sabotage instead of just saying, you know what, I had a mini Milky Way, but I could continue to eat clean the rest of the day. I don't gotta throw my whole diet away. It's ridiculous. That's self-sabotage.
I'm really guilty of that.
We all are.
I've told you guys my biggest thing now is like our health and trying to cut all these things that I know are trash. The girls roll their eyes every time we're in the supermarket and they try to grab a box of cereal, and I'm like, read those ingredients. That's all chemicals and crap. You're not getting that.
Like Cairo doesn't even ask anymore.
He's just gotten used to it.
And then I told you that we're gonna get rid of the Oreos. He's like, my Oreos too. Oh my god, like this is horrible.
Baby steps.
Yeah,
Baby
but like
steps.
honestly, the snacking and all that. Like he doesn't even ask for the things that he can't have anymore. It's crazy.
They get used to it. Your body. Let me tell you guys, as somebody who's been through this multiple, I do this in increments. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like
phases.
It's like cycles. Like,
Phases.
okay, I'm eating clean. I'm eliminating all these things, and then I'm like, okay, I went through the drive-through at McDonald's once, and then it's like downhill from there. And then I'm like, wait, we start this all over. But once you start eliminating these things, and your body's used to not eating all this crap, you don't even crave it no more.
And then when you do have it, it does not sit
You
well.
feel yucky, like when you have that chocolate bar, that cheeseburger, it just doesn't sit right. Another one that I feel like this entire list is an personal attack against me. Being busy, and they write it in quotation marks in the book, so I'm gonna do it like that. Being busy is a lie. I've said this before on this podcast. We prioritize what we want to prioritize. We are able to delegate certain things. We're able to schedule certain things on different days. That's something that I learned. So now I don't say that I'm busy as in I can't. I say I'm busy as in I'm prioritizing X, Y, and Z at the moment. So I don't have time for that. Not because I can't. I'm choosing not to. So I've changed my mindset in that, and I feel like that has helped me. I'm still like, time management is still something that I'm working towards perfecting.
Yeah.
I haven't found like the right groove for my family yet.
Yeah.
But being busy was a big excuse
so hard
for me.
though. You got 4 kids, dude.
and a business.
I have one, and I'm just like scheduling for me. And we've been seeing the show, The Parent Test. But like I'm a good mix of a lot of the parenting styles. But I think scheduling for me is so big to like have a routine.
You're definitely the routine.
Style. I'm a routine.
We
Cairo's
need to have
routine.
an episode on the parenting
like
styles.
We just function on routine. We do. It just works for us. I don't know. Maybe because I've been like that for my whole life too. My parents are very routine-ish.
Yeah.
You know, my parents like woke up.
It feels safe.
It does. But I also think that it helps with not having chaos. Knowing that certain things need to be done by a certain time so they get accomplished. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's what you need.
Yeah, you sent me that suggestion of putting like a 1 hour timer and completing that task within 1 hour. Whatever doesn't get completed, you just set it aside, take a break, and then revisit it if you have to. I'm gonna start trying to do that.
Because I'll let you guys know. When you do that, it puts things into perspective. You're like, okay, you're focused on that.
That's the thing. I try to multitask.
Yeah. No,
and what I end up doing is I know. I end up just doing a crappy job at like the 10 everything. Things that I'm trying to do at once. Like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna reply to these emails and check the Tipsy and Truthful pages, and I'm gonna fold this laundry. At the same time, I have the new season of You playing in the background, and I
have to start dinner.
And and at the same time, I'm like, okay, well, I can also season this meat for later. And what ends up happening, la carne está salada. I'm not paying attention to the thing. The laundry's not actually getting folded. I'm not paying attention to the mess. Like, it's just a mess. I'm doing typos on my emails. So, multitask is my biggest strength and my biggest weakness. Anyway.
It's an episode about Beverly?
I'm just beating myself up this entire episode. No, this is good. This book really helped me realize that
the function. I think it helps you realize the function of why you do certain
of why
things.
I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's not by accident.
No.
It's my subconscious trying to keep me
safe
in the same place where I'm at when I'm trying to grow. So I got to tell my subconscious, shh, I got this, babe.
Yeah.
Spending time with the wrong people.
I feel like no.
No what?
Oh,
this is not self-sabotaging?
No, it is. Sorry. I was like, I don't do that.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, it is. Because it keeps you in the same circle in a place where you don't want to be.
So, yeah. If you're spending time with the wrong people who are focused on things that
you're not interested
don't align with what you actually want in your life, you're going to gravitate towards the things that they are doing versus what you actually know you should be doing.
And a lot of people are guilty of that.
A lot.
I see it on social media. So,
and the last one on this list, and there must be a million other ways to self-sabotage. This is just like a list of like the most common ones that were in the book. But the last one is worrying about irrational fears. Does that sound familiar to anyone in the room?
Now I feel attacked.
Anyone? No?
Okay, yes. Okay. Guilty as charged. The joke is, I don't know if it's because I'm a Virgo. No, for real. I'm a very anxious person. So I always think the worst in every situation.
Worst case scenario, yeah.
If like today, we were talking about like, okay, so I'm very good with directions. I could go to a place once and only get GPS and I could get there the second time. I don't need an actual, like, you don't got to tell me the name of the street. I will find it because psycho me. Is like memorizing, especially from my house, like how many turns, how many times, like how long do I go straight, then I turn left, and then turn right, and then it's una vaina that I can't even tell you why that's there. Maybe movies, I don't know. The fear of not finding home is scary to me.
We gotta really explore these fears.
Yeah, I need to explore that because I couldn't tell you why I do that. When I go to places, the first thing I notice is where are my exit signs? Where are my exit doors? Because if shit pops off, I know where I'm going. I'm serious.
I don't mean to laugh at that, babe.
I know, but
do you, okay, now that you're saying it out loud in front of a camera, into a mic, do you see how irrational that is?
I know it's irrational, but I also work, and this only started a couple years ago.
Don't justify.
I'm not justifying it, but I feel like I said, it started a couple years ago, and I work in education, and part of working in education is all the Alice trainings that we're getting because of school shootings, because of school threats that happen. And honestly, I never really thought about it until I started working in a school. Before, I never used to be like, where are my exit signs? Like, I would have other fears. But like the driving, always. I'm like, if they tie me up and me secuestran, I know where I'm going because I know you stole me from here and you took 3 lefts, 2 rights, and you went straight. I don't know why, but I'm like with directions, I've always been like that. But like with the doors, it was ever since I started working in schools.
Maybe that specific irrational fear.
But I have a million.
But yeah.
I have a million.
And these are fears that if you really, really think about it, like these worst case scenario, the likelihood of them actually happening.
We live in a world we don't know anymore.
Babe, don't justify.
I'm not justifying it, but like we were just talking about like a fear that I have is with my child.
Understand? Right? No, some of the fears that we have are put in place because we need to be safe.
And absolutely. I don't want to attack parents. You do what you see fit with your children, but we live in a world now where like my child is gonna go in the carriage if we go in Market Basket. He's in the big part. He's just sitting there because if shit pops off. Mm-hmm. If shit pops off, yo voy a coger mi muchacho. No, y yo sé dónde está mi muchacho because some people are just so free with their kids and their kids are running around the stores. They're hiding in between things. They don't know where they are. Absolutely not. Not the way that they're snatching up kids and just taking them. Like a lot of my irrational fears have reasons. But then a lot of them, I'm just like, there's no snakes on the plane, Cynthia. Why are you terrified of snakes coming out of nowhere? And it was that movie that traumatized me. But like, I also don't have reasons for being scared of snakes and spiders the way I do.
So, babe, we had mentioned before that sometimes the topics are too long for one episode. We don't want to have to squeeze more information into this. I think that learning about self-sabotage and the way that we are possibly doing this in our own lives is extremely important, and it's like a really big first step in making changes in our lives.
Eye-opening.
Right? So we want to end it here. We're gonna actually keep recording after this, but you'll see it
as a part 2.
So thank you so much. I hope that you have the time to click on the links in our bio. The audiobook that's on YouTube, we're going to link it there. And is there a way to link the actual book? Probably like an Amazon link.
We can do both, yeah.
We'll throw all the links up in there. Why not?
We'll do the free one. We can do the Audible one. We can do the Amazon one. Who cares?
We're going to do all the links.
We'll figure it out.
And we really recommend that everyone reads this book. There might be ways that you are self-sabotaging and you have no idea that you're even doing it. We're going to continue talking about this in the part 2. But thank you so much for joining us. And babe,
thank you for getting tipsy with us.
And for keeping it truthful. See you next time. Bye.